Good day, fellow investors. So this was a great comment on my markets will be flat for the next 20 years video, and No Mercy said, what if markets keep rising for the next 20 years? You will underperform again. I never underperformed any market out there in the last 20 years, so I hope to continue doing that. But it's possible that markets go up, not worth the risk for me, but it's very possible. And in this video, I'm going to give you a thesis that will make it normal for the S&P 500 to be at 10,000 points by 2030, and then we'll explore 20K by 2040. The first trigger for the S&P 500 to be 80% up from here is, and this will surprise you, another crisis. So if we have another crisis like we have had 2009, 2020, then we will see the S&P 500 at 10,000 points. How is that possible? Well, this is what I wanted to show you. Great financial crisis, the Fed increased its balance sheet 5 times. Then we have had the pandemic, 2x, and now it will likely stabilize at 7 trillion. 8x for the Fed's balance sheet. The S&P 500 from a normal level, let's say 2005, it's now up 5x. So not really linearly, but we know what the solution is to any crisis going forward. Well, that is, again, more money printing, lower interest rates, and that will simply have an effect on stocks, and therefore it is very possible that the S&P 500 will reach, I'm pretty sure it will reach 10,000 points in the 2030s. Because if we look at government situations globally, they are borrowing, now the US government is borrowing 28% of what it spends in a year. That is insane, and the only way that you can justify that or make it work is to print more and more money. The government's debt to GDP was around below 40% in the 2000s. Now we will surpass 130% in the 2030s. That's a huge debt bubble, and the only way that can be solved is with inflation. For now, we have not had too much inflation over the last 2 decades. Had inflation, now we have it, and I think that inflation is here to be higher for longer, with ups and downs over the next decade. Because there is only one way to solve debt issues, and we are now 140 trillion bond market there globally, and that is to print money. So next crisis, the Fed balance sheet goes another 2x, the S&P 500 goes 1.8x, and we are at 10,000 points with inflation, and that's about it. That's enough, most likely, because there is no other way to solve all these situations, government debts and other debt levels that are in the world. Their only way is to make the currency go worthless. Sorry for the debt holders, for the pension funds, but that's how it works. Let's now test whether we can see the S&P 500 at 20,000 points in 2040, let's say. If we look at current earnings, and thanks to inflation, we grow those earnings by 6% per year for 15 years, I get to 479 points of S&P 500 earnings going forward. 500 times 20, I still get just to 10,000 points. So at some point, this exuberance, this bubble will stop, and we will see stocks flat for a decade. So 20K by 2040, in the 2040s likely with the crisis, 10K by 2030, maybe not 2030, but very possible in the 30s. The thing is that it's not that stocks go up, it is that the dollar goes down, will continue to go down. That's how it's made. There is no way of escaping that. And I would argue that we would need 10 plus yearly returns just to beat inflation in the next decade. So stocks will likely keep going up, but that will just be a money illusion where you think you're richer, but due to inflation, due to the money printing, things get more expensive far faster that you are getting richer. On how to invest, check what I do on my research platform and subscribe to this channel for more value investing long-term compounding strategies.